Hello everyone, my name is Logic, and today I'm going to be talking about how I changed my role from protector alter to a caretaker and mother to the system, what that process was like, and what my family is now. So before I jump into this, it's important to note that I am a fictive. I don't possess the name that I had in my source. I decided to change it for my own personal comfort, though based on our previous videos and references to those that I knew in source, you can probably guess who I am based off of who my source is. Which ties into my first child. His name is Jerry. He is not a child like a little or anything like that, but in source I began to view him as a son of sorts. We grew very, very close, and he's one of the only people that I truly trust. We know each other very deeply, and as his attachment to his own mother in source was tenuous, to say the least, I started to become that figure to him. When we came into system, that was still the same. We were a mother and son. We would often do things together. We'd often co-front. The times where we were together in the body was some of the only times that either of us really felt safe and like everything was normal. The second thing that I did was I started seeing a man in our system named O'Brien, who is a fictive of O'Brien from the novel 1984. If you know who that is, you can probably guess that he was a persecutor and he caused a lot of trouble within our system at first. However, thanks to some very kind words from other systems that we knew, he is now a very functioning member of our system, and I would like to think that us getting together was part of that journey for him. O'Brien then sort of became a dad to Jerry, and then to Jerry's boyfriend, Michael. We formed a little family, and we actually went on a road trip together. I remember this very, very vividly. Jerry gave O'Brien stick and poke tattoos, and we went to the beach. It was really lovely. This was all happening in the inner world, by the way. I probably should have mentioned that before. And then Daisy formed. Daisy is an ANP who has not fronted very much, but was made to handle some of the daily parts of life. She had memories of me being like a mother to her, and so she came into our family. I didn't question it. It was just like she had always been there. Then one of our alters, Renegade, their adopted family kind of fell apart. They had an adopted family outside of system, and it didn't end very well. Obviously, she was very torn up about that, and I kind of took him under my wing. Red did as well, which I'll get to later. I apologise if I keep looking off this way. I have our computer with my notes here. I couldn't figure out with the new setup how to make that work. And my headphone cable too. Can you tell I haven't done this before? Then, around the same time, I adopted Moon, and I got together with Red, who is one of our protectors. Red also has a family in the inner world. They are... I'm trying to say this in a way that will not offend any of them. They are the group of misfits in our system who rather need someone to watch over them, make sure they don't get into any trouble, and just have someone stable. These alters are often prosecutors, persecutors, protectors, or teenage alters. and Red took them all under her wing, which then made them be under my wing as well. I don't often stay with Red. I do sometimes. She has a little house where she and her family stay. I love her very much. Then I moved out of the Institute, which is where I previously resided, the Magnus Institute. I moved out and I started to reside in a little cottage. Me and O'Brien lived there together. There is a basement level, which is where his room is. He feels more comfortable with it. And not long after, Jonah brought Trey to me. Now, Trey is one of our littles. I will not be telling you very much information about him, but all you need to know is that he was newly discovered. He was a very traumatised little, and he had come from the forest by the camp, where he was being haunted by the monsters that reside in the forest, who we have not yet been able to make much progress with. Jonah found him and brought him around to me, and he stayed with me for a while. He is still staying with me. He does have a mother figure in our partner system. We will get to some of that later. Not the time, Logic, not the time. But I take care of him in the inner world. I make sure that he has food. I make sure that he feels safe. If he needs anything, he knows that he can come to me. He knows that he can come to me. Words do not like me today. After that, Cade also came into my life. Now, Cade was another very traumatised little, and she was locked in Corvin's dungeon for a very long while. But she came out of there and was brought to me because, well, the others supposed that I would be able to take care of her. And I did. She then found another family in the system and has moved away to take to be with them. It is hard, obviously, when one of them leaves, but most of my children are adults anyway. I age slide from around 50 to 75 years old. So even though most of the alters that I have adopted would legally be considered adults, a lot of them are in their early 20s, they are still my kids. I love them a lot. Not all of them, very few of them actually live with me. Most of the time my cottage is empty. But instead of being an alter who handles things out front, I now handle things on the inside. If any of the children are upset or distressed, if any new alters, new kids come around and they are scared, they don't know what to do, they ask the others that they bring them to me. My cottage is a safe place. It's very secure. None of the monsters can come out of the woods to find it. And almost none of the other persecutors know where it is. Not even the ones that seem to know every part of the inner world. Recently, I adopted a son in one of our family systems. His name is Ash. He is a very strong child. I'm very lucky to have him. And with him, I have rather embraced the fact that my role in the system is less someone who makes split-second decisions for the system's safety up front, and more someone who handles what's going on inside and keeps everyone safe and cared for. And I do protect everyone. I do have a shed which none of the children are allowed into. I do have weapons. I have guns. If anyone, anything, any of the monsters, even any alters who may be persecutors, who I do not recognise, if any of them come near the cottage and I feel they have the intention of harming my children, I will make sure that they know I am not someone to be messed with. I am not someone to pick a fight with. And I will die before I let my children get hurt. I think this is all for this video. I hope that you have found it productive. Please leave anything that you would like to know in the comments down below. Please subscribe if you enjoyed. Have a lovely night.